All right, let's talk more about this reading story that we did. If you're behind or you didn't do yesterday, we are in Storyworks, March, April issue. We are in There Were Giants, and then you should utilize the audio text to listen. I've listened to this story a couple times now, and I figure more out each time that I listen to it. So I would encourage you to listen to the story every day. That will really help with your understanding of the story. Today we're talking about theme. Theme is probably one of the most difficult things we discuss in fourth grade. It's a huge standard for reading, so it's really important that we keep practicing theme. It'll show up in fifth grade and every year for the rest of your school career. So, parents, feel free to help your children with this concept because it is a very advanced standard that we teach in elementary school. Theme of a story, it's that big, important idea that you take away from reading it. And then it says, we're going to answer these questions. So, a lot of times with theme, it has to deal with growth of a character. And that's what makes all text good, is when you have characters go through some sort of event or problem that causes them to grow. So let's just discuss question 1 together. How does Marie feel about the legend of how the lakes were formed? So, how the lakes were formed is this weird story that Gramps tells about a giant, and then there's 5 lakes, and they're named after the fingers of the handprint. And he lives at Thumb Lake, is where he describes where he lives. He lives at the thumb. Um, and it says at the beginning, she just feels like she's too old for that. So she's too old to listen to legends. And she kind of tries to like change the subject and keep him from telling the story. She doesn't want to hear it again, which is kind of sad because we know that our grandparents just love to talk to us. And she's honestly trying to keep him from telling her the story. She's like, I don't want to hear that. I've heard it before. Okay. So at the end, she has a different idea about it. She realizes that it's important to Gramps, this legend that he tells, and she begins telling it to him in the hospital. So if you haven't listened to the story, I kind of spoiled it for you. At the end, after whatever happened to Gramps to make him fall happens, she gets help, and they end up in the hospital. She goes into telling him the story. So she realizes the importance of passing down and telling the legend. And you could even say she even tells Gramps the story. Okay, so the over and over message that you should be picking up in this is about traditions. That's important to take care of your family members. It's important to honor traditions. It's important to be there for your family. The theme of this story centers around all of those ideas. And we've discussed that before too. With theme, there is never really a one right answer. Everybody's going to kind of take away different bits and pieces of this story. Number 2, what does Marie think about needing to take care of Gramps? Okay, at the beginning, she's like, I don't need to be here. There's no reason for me to take care of Gramps. But at the end, she risked her life to walk across that lake. How does she feel about crossing the lake? She knew it was dangerous the whole time, but at the beginning, she had just kind of like, well, I'll never do that. And by the end, she's willing to go across the lake. 4 says, why do you think it's important to the story that the snowshoes she uses belong to her great-great-grandfather? And then write one sentence that states a theme or a big idea for the story. This is a lesson that I do anticipate you may be needing help on. Please reach out to me or Mr. Collier, and we will read through this with you on a Google Meet, and we'll help you finalize your answers if you're struggling with theme today.